Welcome back. We're out here in the shop today, and we are going to take a look at a few different ways to heat garages, pole barns, shops, and other things like that. Stuff you might be doing on the homestead, and even a way to heat the outside. And what I mean by that is a lot of times I have to work on things outside. I don't have the ability to bring it into a heated garage or pole barn. And so it's nice to bring some heat out to you wherever you're doing a job out on the farm or homestead. So I have a bunch of different heaters here. I'm going to talk about some that you've seen in the past and some kind of standard things that a lot of people have around the house. We'll compare all these different forms of heating. At the end, I will show you the king of all garage or pole barn heaters. The true way if you want to heat a big space quickly, how to do it. And for pretty cheap. So let's dig in. Let me show you what we got here, and we'll talk about some of the common forms of heating spaces like the shop. So we'll start with this. This is something I don't like to use anymore, and you can see I have a bunch of wood and things stacked around it, but this is a wall heater that looks like it was installed probably in the 70s. I think this is a propane wall heater. These are very common in Michigan, especially in up north cabins and other places like that. A lot of small homes are heated with these in a central place. This is has a propane line run to it. It has a burner down here. It goes through a heat exchanger, and there's a fan up there that actually blows the air down past the hot heat exchanger and out the bottom. This, I don't even know how many BTUs this is, but this will heat up this shop really quickly. It is fairly loud. It is so old that I don't know if it's truly safe anymore. I don't like using it. Sometimes I'll get rollout, flame will roll out the bottom of it. It's old, it's not safe. I need to tear it out of here, honestly, and find a new way to heat. The first way we can heat small spaces that I've used to this old 1500 watt electric heater. It's a ceramic heater, has a ceramic heating element in it and a fan. It's very quiet. This has an automatic thermostat on the top. The shop that we are in here today, this is approximately, it's a weird shape. It's kind of a trapezoid shape, but this shop is about 16 by 20. This will not really heat this space. If it's below freezing outside, it could run in here 24/7, and it really wouldn't heat this much room. So this is great for smaller spaces or localized heating. 1500 watt heater has the equivalent of about 5,300 BTUs. So British thermal units, that's what we'll kind of compare all of these in. So this is about 5,000 BTUs per hour. Cheap and electric, easy to use, quiet, no exhaust, no fumes, no fuel. Oh, the Mr. Buddy. Mr. Heater, portable buddy, whatever you want to call this thing. It has a small pilot in there. It doesn't really have a thermostat as much as it just has a couple different settings. You can go basically low or high. This heats up a little ceramic element in there. This is great, reliable, portable heater that you can take with you anywhere. If you're out working in the field or something like that, basically you can come over here and you can warm your hands. It's very localized. You're only really getting heat right around this area. You put this in a little hunter's deer blind or something like that, and this is going to work great. This is actually more heat than that. This has about 8,000 BTUs. It takes these 1 pound propane tanks, these little camp tanks. I couldn't tell you how long it'll run on one. I guess it depends on how high you have it set. These are under $100, cheap little local heaters. All right, remember this? This is something new to the homestead. This is a Vevor diesel heater. I did a video on this last year. Fill it right up with regular diesel fuel like we have around for our tractor or whatever. This has an air intake hose, and it has an exhaust hose, and then it has your heat that comes out here. Now this is designed for a truck or a camper or a vehicle. That's what it's really designed for, is heat like that. This is what they call 8 kilowatts, or is approximately 27,000 BTUs. So we get quite a bit more heat out of this than we do out of that. Advantages of this: diesel fuel is a very dense fuel, so you need very little fuel to get a lot of heat for a long period of time. But it's messy, it stinks, it's liquid, it spills and sloshes around and all that kind of stuff. It's also a little more dangerous. You have to be able to exhaust this outside. It does not burn very clean. So the diesel fuel has a little bit of more exhaust, and so you wouldn't want to run this inside. Obviously, you have to make sure you can exhaust this out underneath a garage door or something like that. This will warm up my shop pretty quickly. It would warm up a garage. You have more moving parts in here. You've got a combustion chamber. You've got things that get dirty. There's a lot of disadvantages to these over what I'm going to show you next. So this is also, right now, I have it hooked up to a battery here. So this actually is a 12 volt. That's what most of these diesel heaters are. They are, again, designed to run off a car or a camper, or something like that. And now for the king. This is the new heater that we have. This is going to be what I'll be using all over the homestead here to heat my shop, to heat the garages, and to work outside. All that kind of stuff. If I'm doing sap outside, if I'm doing anything outside, work on a tractor, work on something in the field, a tractor or a car or whatever. So what this is basically a torpedo heater. You've seen these before probably in kerosene. We use these growing up for construction sites. I used to work heating and cooling. We would use this type of a thing. It had a kerosene tank on the bottom. You plugged it in, and we called it torpedo heaters. We could put a crawl space or whatever. But again, the kerosene ones are messy, liquids sloshing around and all that kind of stuff. You got to carry kerosene tanks with you and everything to refill it. So this runs on propane. So I just have one of these, I think, what is it, 20 pounds? I think they're 20 pound propane tank, standard barbecue propane tank. This hooks up, it's got a 10-foot hose on it, and then just a standard cord here for electricity that just powers the fan and the electronics in it, the thermostat. These are very easy, very safe. You can disconnect, throw the propane tank in your truck, take it around the homestead. It's very easy to transport, very easy to use that way. And this is, it's on a thermostat, which is perfect. So I can actually leave this hooked up and set up in the garage or a crawl space or something like that to keep it above freezing. So this actually has a thermostat on the side. You can set it as low as 25 or maybe 30 degrees. It's about 40, I think, in here right now. I've already had it running a little bit. On and off switch, pretty simple. And this has an error message, so if it tries to ignite a few times, it's got a couple safety features, thermocouples in there, obviously, to make sure there's a flame. It's not just pumping out gas. So if it doesn't light, if you're low on fuel, or there's something else wrong, it will flash an error message here, and you just unplug it, reset it, and check, of course, fix the problem. So let's fire this up. It's pretty fun. This thing's pretty cool. It's a little louder than the rest of them, but man, does it pump out some heat. So this 125,000 BTUs, this will heat over 3,000 square feet. This is an enormous amount of heat. You could heat a giant pole barn, you could heat garages, you can heat anything like that very, very quickly. And it runs a ton of air through here, so it'll cycle the air in a very, very large space very quickly. Let's fire it up and see some flames here. All right, so I've opened the doors in here to cool the shop down because it heated it up pretty quickly. So what we'll do is a test. We'll get it down to about 40 degrees in here. We'll turn it up to 65 degrees and we'll see how long it takes to get from about 40 degrees up to 65. Well, I barely had enough time to get my stopwatch out and start it, so it was less than 2 minutes that it ran, and it looks like either this thermostat's off a little bit. It looks like the actual thermostat is right in the back there, and so it might be this casing is probably getting warmed up a little bit, so it affects the thermostat. So I have it set at 75 right now. It looked like it clicked on at about 50, and it warmed it up to 75 in less than 2 minutes. It's obviously well oversized for the shop use, but for a big garage or a pole barn, this thing would be amazing. And I love that it has a thermostat on it that you can set, and you could just keep, even if you just wanted to keep something at 35 or 45 degrees and just leave it on, that would be great, because then you could come out, keep a space above freezing. So what about carbon monoxide? Is this safe to run inside? Well, it is safe as far as running it inside. It is meant for indoor spaces. It's not an outdoor heater. It is meant for emergency heat in a home. It is meant to heat shops and garages and pole barns and things like that. but you do have to make sure that you have adequate ventilation. Propane burns actually very clean. There's very little exhaust or some water vapor. It also adds some moisture to the air. But in a real small space, carbon monoxide is definitely something you have to watch out for. So you want to read the instructions and safety warnings and all that stuff on this, obviously, before you use it. I do have a carbon monoxide detector in the shop, and it is registering 0 right now in here after just letting it run for a while. I've had a couple of the different heaters running in here, just testing things out. In the northern states, having different ways to stay warm is super important, and this thing is going to help us out quite a bit around here. Next week, it looks like it's going to be about 5 degrees at night, and I've got some projects I want to do in the garage. I've got a golf cart to work on, I've got some upgrades to do on my truck and other things, and so having a warm space to work in, it makes any project way nicer. They do make a smaller one, but these things are very inexpensive. So I'll put a link in the description to the Max Heat, to their 125,000 BTU version that you saw here, and then they also have a smaller one. I think it's like a 85,000 BTU or something like that, that you can get. They're very inexpensive, and hook it up to a propane tank and you're ready to heat. So let me know what you guys think. What do you guys use for heaters? Have you ever used one of the Torpedo heaters, the kerosene versions of this style of heater? And what do you think of this? I'd love to hear from you guys. We'll see you next time.